yes, my lovely people. This is Wave TV. My name is Dre. This is Wave TV Podcast, and we are back with another banger. Today, people, I'm gonna say to you, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe to your boy, and press the little notification bell button, and it'll tell you all the times that I've uploaded on YouTube. Boys and girls, we're back again. We're back again, back again, back again. I have got another podcast, and this one is going to be a little bit gems, a little bit of talks here, there, everywhere. You feel me? Like businessy, all of that. Tap in, sit down, relax, because you need to think about this one right now. But yeah, today I got my special guest in the building.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm alright, bro. I'm
Thank you
alright.
for having me on, by the way.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. You looking kind of dapper today, man.
Can we say before the camera,
Yeah.
I've been feeling ill, so if my voice is a little bit croaky today or anything, obviously, bear
No
with me.
worries,
but
bro.
I appreciate, obviously.
No
having me on,
worries, bro. But bro, tell me about yourself, man.
Okay, where should we start?
From the bottom till you are right now, basically.
Well, I currently run two companies. Grey Arc Technology, which is a smart tech hub for everyday products with smart technology innovated in it. And then Grey Arc Capital, which is the trade and education. And basically us kind of forming into more of a private equity and more kind of diverse in kind of alternatives. So yeah, those are the two that I
Okay. So the two companies, do they like link in together? Like, have you ever linked them together?
No,
or they're just separate?
The only correlation that they have with each other is that obviously the Grey Arc name in itself. So essentially in the future, I want to have it where I have Grey Arc Capital, but it's powered by Grey Arc Tech.
Okay, I see.
Of the tech that we'll try to kind of bring through. So I feel like, yeah, it's pretty much from there.
Okay, because I've seen your profile like years ago, and I was on the phone to you like not too long, and I was thinking like when I think I was in college, I saw your profile, and I was thinking like, who's this guy? Because he's been doing loads of trading. Like, you wearing fancy clothes, all of that, like clothes that I couldn't afford at them times. Do you get what I'm saying? And I was looking up to you and thinking like, you know what, I want to be trading or doing something like in my college days. But again, I thought of something and I was thinking when it comes to it, it kind of fizzles away in my brain. Like, I can't be bothered to do that.
Yeah.
That was just my mind at the time, but obviously my mind is developed and it's changed and it's gone stronger.
Yeah.
But like, how long have you been doing trading for? Because you've been doing it for a while.
I've been doing it for about 13 to 14 years now.
So you're knees deep in it then?
Yeah. Do you know what? With the trading industry, right? And I've always kind of said this. It's almost like a thing that I put on the back stall of even when I kind of tell people what I do, because the trading industry itself now is so saturated because everyone's doing it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And so now you've got to a stage where some people are very good at marketing and some people can actually trade. Two different things, do you understand? But at the end of the day, I feel like because that industry has become so saturated and it's hard to almost tell who the people who can do it to the people that can't do it, I feel like it's just kind of at the stage where I don't kind of push it out there and say, oh yeah, I do trading or anything like that. Because, like, even though people know in the industry, because a lot of the people who are big traders now, I've mentored them, I've taught them, but again, it's a messy industry. Such a messy industry. And so, like I said, I've been that long, so I've seen everything top to bottom, as you can imagine. So,
yeah. Because trading, like, did you find it was messy at the beginning? Like, how did you do this? Like, and there's so much digits and numbers and...
Yeah, it's an interesting industry. I kind of had a unique story of how I even got into it in the first place, because
Tell us,
Yeah.
man.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I had two different upbringings, you could say, because
Yeah.
I had half of my life I was West London,
Mm.
where I was kind of raised, and then when I was about, I think 16 or 17, I moved to South London, right? So West London and South London, especially at the time, it's like a culture shock, or almost, because everyone in West is semi-different to the people that were in South London, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like South London, you almost learn how to be streetwise in a very short period of time.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah,
from
yeah.
being, like, the first place that I went to in South London was Lewisham College.
Oh,
That was,
okay.
and that was just the nearest college near me. Do
Yeah.
you understand? So, you know, when I was in West London, my mum had put me through everything. She had two sets of twins, raised us on her own. She was putting us through like tuition. She was making sure we're doing every activity you can imagine.
Yeah.
Swimming, basketball, fencing, just every activity you can imagine. Because my mum's theory was just like, listen, be wherever you want to be in the world, just be the best at it. Even if you're going to be a dustbin man, just be the best dustbin man you can be. So that was kind of always installed from early, right? In West. But then when you get to South, like, it's a whole different ball game. And like I said, the nearest college I went was Lewisham College. So I feel like I kind of got the best of both worlds very early.
Yeah.
And I feel like even that's where the name, the Grey Arc, represents in a way. Because I've always told people, I don't ever feel like there's black or white in life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's just a grey shade.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like if you're too much on one side or the other, it becomes a problem. Because you meet people who are on one side and they're too polished and everything, but they haven't got any edge or any even streetwise about them.
Yeah.
So then they're naive to the world. Do you understand? And being naive to the world is crazy, because sooner or later people are going to smell it on you, and that's when they exploit it, and you start slipping up and making mistakes. Whereas I feel like if you're too far on the other side, then it's like, okay, well, you can't articulate yourself, so you can't really maneuver or anything like that. So I feel like in life you need to have a perfect balance and everything. And most of the people you'll find who are the most successful, they're not the most polished or thing. They're just people who got it right in the middle and everything, can understand that there's no black or white in life.
Yeah.
There's just like 50 shades of grey.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the way the world even operates to a degree.
It's true.
So my experience growing up in kind of South London, I feel like that kind of taught me in a way just how to kind of maneuver a little bit. And my story started off there. I was in Lewisham College.
Yeah.
Remember it like it was yesterday. At the top of Lewisham College, anyone who's actually been there, in the distance you can see Canary Wharf, right? Now, anyone who's never been Canary Wharf before, right? When you first go there, it's almost like an overwhelming feeling, because you're like, all these tall buildings, all these people, do you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
And I can see this in the distance. And I remember I said to my friend, I was like, who works here? Like, who works in those buildings over there?
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh yeah, all the millionaires work there, all the finance people. I was like, listen, how do I get a job there? I was like, how do I get a job there? He's like, go there and ask.
Did he doubt you?
It wasn't like
at them times.
It wasn't doubted or anything. He just was. I think he was going off his head on what he thought how to get a job. And I was naive as well. Like I said, I don't know anything about Canary Wharf or anything. So I remember on my half term, I went there, and at the time I went there in my K-Swiss tracksuit. Remember in K-Swiss?
Oh yeah.
I went there in my K-Swiss tracksuit. I went there in my Era cap, and I went to go hand out my CV. And I went there on my half term, and I got rejected every single day, every single time. People thought I was begging. People probably thought I was trying to rob them or something. Just general stereotypes. But again, I was young, so I didn't know any better. Do you understand? I didn't know anyone at that time who was working in Canary Wharf. I didn't know what it was about at all. All I knew is that I wanted to experience this and get involved in it. Right. So I done that for my whole half term, and it was only on the Friday when I was going back, I actually ended up meeting this guy who actually ended up getting me an internship in HSBC. He ended up working inside there,
Okay.
and he was a commercial banking manager. And I ended up liaising with him for a few weeks, and he offered me an internship. And that was my first time working in Canary Wharf. Like, I remember even back then, I had like an oversized suit. I had like, I didn't know anything about anything. Do you understand? Like, I was just, I was in HSBC. I was on the 42nd floor, and I remember at the time I always took photos. I always just wanted to like document the journey and everything. And I thought, this is mind blowing, because when you're in that environment, you feel the energy. Does it make sense? And so from there, I had my intern. I'd done that for about 2 months, and then stopped. I was back in South, obviously as usual. And then next, I actually got headhunted into a company called Solomon Blake, who at the time, they were private equity. So while I was at HSBC, I was networking. I was always that kind of hungry person. Always, like, the worst someone can say is no. Do you understand? So even when, you know, I was networking and meeting people and everything, I would just add them on Facebook, I'll get their numbers, because I feel like, you know, you can always leverage off your network, regardless. Even if you're not in a position, you can always leverage off a heavy, deep network around you. Ended up meeting them like Solomon Blake, managed to blag my way into the job. I won't lie. But again, I was young. Do you understand? I was like 18 at this point, I think. So now I'm back in Canary Wharf, and I'm like, oh man, I've got a job here. I can't believe it. And these lot were doing trading. So even when they were doing trading, I would kind of notice the styles they were doing it, and I kind of understood, but I wasn't nearly as good as I am now at all. Do you understand? I was pretty much a novice then, and after a while, they kind of noticed that and everything, and then I actually ended up getting fired from there, which... but at the end of the day, do you know what it is? I knew that I wasn't as good enough trader, but the crazy story is that later on down the line, when I set up my own company, this is when I was 20, the whole thing's like a movie. The whole thing's like a movie. I don't even know how to even start
I'm just
explaining
picturing it, like, with the tracksuit, handing out the CVs and stuff like that.
With that, obviously, you're going to get rejected, isn't it? You feel... Like, I remember when I was on the way back, and I thought to myself, forget this, like, all of this, like, Canary Wharf stuff, because it's impossible to get a job. Do you understand? And I always say, I feel like I understand people, especially in kind of, you know, areas where there's not opportunities. They can only see what's in front of them. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So if there's no one that you've ever seen that's achieved that, or that looks like you, or anything like that, then how are you meant to picture yourself to go there? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
True.
And I feel like that's obviously the kind of main problem, I feel like, in kind of society. It's just that that's why everyone always jumps to do the usual stuff, which is the music, the football, or, you know, the kind of normal things that the popular things, instead of kind of diverse into other stuff. It's because they haven't seen anyone that's like them achieve it and do it. So that was pretty much kind of me. I thought to myself, forget this, it's not going to work. So to go from HSBC to then Solomon Blake, they ended up firing me. But at the time, I was posting on Facebook.
Okay.
And at the time, Instagram wasn't really about, right? So I remember I posted on Facebook, and someone pops up and they're like, listen, Josh, this stock trading thing, because it wasn't like how it was sat trade now. Let's talk about like the first wave of it, right? They're like, listen, I'll pay you £500 now and £500 when I make my money back if you can teach me. I'm like, legit? Like, because I'd never earned £500 in my life, like, or seen someone do that legitly just straight away, just from a service like that. And I thought, damn, but I haven't even got an office. So I thought, okay, do you know what? What I'm going to do is this, right? In Canary Wharf, you know the restaurant Rocker?
Yeah. Now,
this is actually a weird thing, right? And probably later on, we'll probably be able to add the photos so you can see and everything. But I use Rocker as my office for a period of time because
Oh,
what actually happens is I realized to myself, okay, well, I haven't got an office. I haven't got the money to afford an office at the moment, but I still want to be in Canary Wharf.
Mm.
Now, one little kind of trick, or let's call it loophole, right? With Rocker is that if you order green tea, you get unlimited green tea, unlimited refills.
Oh, is it?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, right, so I just need to order everyone green teas on the table. And at the time, God knows what they were thinking, because I was I was 19 at that time. And I used to think, what are these kids doing in this restaurant? Just morning to night, just drinking green tea. And I didn't even have a proper suit. I couldn't afford a proper suit at that time. So I had like a shirt, I remember. And I had to borrow a laptop of my friend at that time to teach.
This is the real struggle.
This is the graft. Like I was literally like I get what it's like to be at that stage. Do you understand? Like, I can remember because I was buying platform tickets, £1. That will get me on the platform. I'll try and do all of this just to go to Canary Wharf and come back. Do you understand? And do the teaching and all of this stuff. And you know, I remember the first person I done, and 2 weeks later, and they made their money back, and I was just like, wow, and then paid me, and I was just like, did I just make £1,000 that easily? Like that was 500 before and then 500 afterwards, and then what happened was that I posted on my Facebook again, like 4 more people popped up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can semi-make this into something.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not? I've always kind of been into business and everything, like, which I'll explain kind of later on. I've always kind of been into it. So I thought, do you know what? Why not? And that's what I started to do. I started to teach. And I remember my second month, I made 10,000 teaching 10 people. Wow. And this is teaching in Rocker. Do you know, do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was just like, at the time I was like, this is crazy. And I thought, do you know what? I need to do this bigger. I can't keep doing this in a restaurant. I need to do this bigger. So it's like the 3 pillars in Canary Wharf, right? There's HSBC, One Canada Square, and then a Citibank. Yeah. It's like the 3 different ones. So I worked in HSBC. Solomon Blake was in One Canada Square. And then Citibank was next to it. So I thought, okay, Citibank do offices. So I remember I went there, and I remember, I'll never forget the day I spoke to this guy, and he was like the floor manager, and I think, and he was like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 19, just about to turn 20. And he was like, okay, and you want to get an office? And I was like, yeah. But again, I'm just ecstatic. I've got the energy flowing through me already. Yeah. He said, look, I don't want to like crush your spirit. I don't want to crush what we're doing, but I don't think someone of your age will be able to keep up with the commitments or anything like that. And on top of it, you know, it's not a small amount of money. Yeah. Your deposit is going to cost you just under 10 grand. I said, I'll bring the money tomorrow. And I promise you, I'll be your biggest client on this floor. I was like, I'll be your biggest client on this floor. And from there, that's where I went to get the first office. And I started the kind of education kind of company. And it kind of took off a lot faster than kind of I even expected. Because normally businesses go like this. Yeah. Whereas this business went like this, right? And that company in itself was like, the whole thing was almost like a movie in itself. Like the whole, because at the time, even the people that were in the company and kind of what they're doing now, these are not kind of small personnels or anything like that. So there was so much kind of controversy around there, and there was so much kind of, which, man, I don't even know how that story in itself would just stretch on for kind of 2 hours, but it was good. It was good experience. It was. I feel like, you know, that kind of helped to kind of shift my mindset, even as a business person because, like I said, you only get better with experience. Do you understand? So at the time, I'm what 19, turning 20 years old, and then within like 2 or 3 months, we scaled to a few offices on the floor and everything. And then it was crazy because the first little kind of crazy drama that happened was to do with my PA.
Okay.
Right? So remember I said I was at Solomon Blake?
Yeah.
There was that one night, right? And we always used to go like clubbing. We used to like sometimes come back to the office and everything. And I remember we went and my PA was signed in. And I was thinking, it's like 3 a.m. What's she doing here?
Yeah.
But we thought, oh, let's go up and she's probably working or something. And at the time, she was 18 years old. I was 20, something like that. So we go upstairs, go to my office, and surprisingly, she's in my office having sex with my old boss from Solomon Blake.
Oh, wow.
Who was like 40 something. So all that time, what he'd done is he'd sent her to work in my company, start giving off all the clients and all this stuff and everything. And then, that was like the first thing. And I thought to myself, what is even going on? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
That is wild.
And like from there, it's just like a whole domino effect of things. Like the whole company in itself is crazy because I remember like the company got dragged, right? People were like, trading's a scam. But it's like, we're an educational company. It's like, if you fail a driving test, you're not going to go to a driving instructor and say it's a scam. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But because it was so new and everything, it's not as saturated as it is now.
Yeah.
So when you're the first wave of anything, you're always going to be criticized.
Yeah.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? It's like of anything, even like with music or anything like that. Look at someone like Wiley or people that pioneered the music scene, and then look at the heights of where they got to, and then look what doors that open for someone like Central C now.
Yeah.
And do you understand where I'm coming from? So being the first wave is very hard on anything because people are not going to understand, and if they don't understand it, that leaves a lot of room to criticize it. And to criticize you. So you have to almost position yourself where if you're the first wave of anything, at least survive to the fourth wave where it's saturated.
Exactly.
Because then you're solidified in it.
Exactly.
In itself. But not many people make it past that first wave. First wave opens doors for other people. So the trading industry was the exact same thing. No one understood it. Do you understand? I got an email by one guy one day, and he said he had a problem with one of my staff. And he said, fire him or I'm coming for your company.
What?
And
is it like that, yeah?
And I thought to myself, I'm 20 years old at the time. So I'm thinking, who is this? It's like any 20-year-old. Like if they're doing a real good position, you're not going to listen to a random guy.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Little did I know. He was serious when he said that. I thought he was joking. This guy went to the ends of the earth, like doing blogs, everything. Just to show that. And do you know what? Fair play to him. I underestimated him. But at the time, I was 20. So I feel like it was a bit kind of weird in that aspect. Yeah. But I feel, it's an interesting industry. It's an interesting field. But I feel like in time, you can only get better with anything. Yeah. So even, like I said, me as a business person or as a trader, take me at 20 years old, and now take me at 30, it's two different people.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced the nitty-gritty. I've had full-on experience, and I've experienced the worst of it and the best of it. So something's going to give if you stick at anything that long. Do you understand? You're naturally going to get better at it. It's not even if you're worse or anything like that. It's if you're committed and you're persistent, then essentially you're going to fly. And I think that's exactly kind of what kind of happened. But I mean, that bit of my life and everything in that chapter was some of the best moments, but some of the most depressing moments or everything. Because, I ended up shutting down the company. The person who was closest to me ended up stealing from me. Yeah. Had just a lot of things happening at that time.
Is there a lot of late nights as well?
A lot of late nights, but it's just a lot of like politics It's all, and you realize it's always to do. It's sad. It's always to do with money. Do you understand? Because at the end of the day, it's like I feel like you shouldn't really let that control you as a person,
Exactly. Yeah.
or your kind of needs. But I mean, obviously, situations at hand obviously happens. So, in respect of that, obviously, I won't kind of drag anyone's name down or anything like that, because obviously, it's when I was young and I've forgiven every single person. But it is a traumatic experience. Yeah. Especially when you're 20 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, come on. It's like, no, if I saw a 20-year-old now and I'm thinking, this guy's like, okay, 5 officers, he's doing this, he's flying, he's da-da-da. I'll give my hats off to him. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But I was almost at the age made to feel there was so much pressure and everything, and so much, and there was, just a lot at that period. So,
yeah. Wow, that is a movie.
There's a lot that happened in it.
You should really write a biography. I swear to God, because
it is. Do you know what? It's funny. Like, I've been kind of invited on a few podcasts before about it, but I just thought, nah, it's not the right time, or feel like I'm not at the final version that I need to be at, where I can start kind of telling the fun stories. But in due time, 100%.
Yeah.
In due time, 100%.
So, tell me about your companies now, because I see, like, mainly on Instagram, bro, like, you are doing a very, very good job in what you do, and plus with the water bottles as well. And where they're located, bro, you're doing a lot, bro.
The job isn't finished until it's done. Do you understand? No, do you know what it is? I feel like I haven't even scraped. Like, my mindset now is that not only there's taking part and it's dominating. If you come in with an attitude to dominate from the beginning, you're going to do everything in your power to make that happen. And anything else along the sidelines is just going to be seen as kind of just noise until you've kind of hit that goal, right? So my company is, let's talk about the tech. Yeah. So Grey Art Technology. Yeah. I've actually bought two of the water bowls today, but Grey Art Tech in itself is, people just think that we were just focusing on water bottles, but it wasn't. Grey Art Tech is everyday products with smart technology innovated into it. When I started off Grey Art Tech, I thought, well, majority of people, when they go into business, they go into the usual same business, which is the clothing lines, the food shops, the normal kind of cliche things, right? I thought, when I set up my company at 20, I wasn't really respected as an entrepreneur, I don't feel like. Which is fair enough, because, like I said, I'm in an industry where it's like, it's a kind of it's like lots of smokes and mirrors and everything. So I thought, I want to go into an industry where I can actually showcase my skills as an entrepreneur, because that's what I want to be respected as. Obviously, the trading, I can sit in front of anyone at any given time and trade and do that no problem. And I've done that. I've mentored the majority of the traders out there. I've probably taught them or mentored them. That's how they got started. But I feel like there's a ceiling to it where I feel like I wanted a chance to kind of showcase my skills as an actual entrepreneur. And that's when I decided I wanted to do the tech. I love tech. My favorite Marvel characters like Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, that's cold. Cold.
So I've always been kind of into the tech, and I said, okay, do you know what? Why not start a smart tech? Because if you really think about it, you don't really hear of anyone jumping into smart tech.
Yeah. That is true. That is really true.
When you think about it top of your head, there isn't like a real kind of market leader. So that means that, okay, I'm in an open lane because this industry isn't saturated. And I can showcase my creative skills and my skills as an entrepreneur at the same time.
Yeah.
So the concept of the company was actually everyday products with smart technology innovated in it. Because if I just done the simple just gadgets and all these gimmick stuff, it's all right, but you're not really going to hit home. But now, if I'm innovating smart tech into everyday products, what you use anyway, then I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I'm just simply making a better one.
Yes.
So our flagship product, which is like the water bottle, for example, This is a wallboard that cleans and sterilizes your water. So essentially turning tap water into bottled water. So in the lid, there's I don't know if we can. I don't know which camera to even point at.
It will be this one.
This camera. Well, in the lid, there's a UVC eye light in it, which, to be honest, is actually the latest kind of UVC light. But that's what sterilizes and purifies the water.
Okay.
And this was our actual first version of the bottle. So the battery's a bit out at the moment, but normally on here it's like a temperature display, and it highlights, it illuminates in blue.
Oh, that's cool.
And it reminds you when to drink water. It tells you how much water is in there.
Do you have an app to it as well?
See, okay, this was the first version.
Okay.
Right? The second version, that's the one that has the app to it.
Okay.
So the first one, this is what we actually launched in Selfridges.
Oh, yeah.
So we launched in Selfridges within our first year. Getting into Selfridges was...
is it tough? Or?
It is tough, but I feel like as well, when it comes to business, I feel like you write your own rules to it. Everyone always tries to go off someone else's rule book.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
You know, I think I kind of mentioned it when we were outside, but I was like, when I look at any business or anything, I just look at number one. I don't look at number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. People spend a lot of time doing so much market research, and they want to look at all these companies, and that's what disheartens them. For me, I just need to see what the number one is doing, and I'll do it better. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And if you do it like that, it's like you're always going to fall upon some sort of greatness if you're aiming at the best. Because now, from the way you do your marketing to your product design to the way your company, your brand tone is, or your brand aesthetics, it's all compared to the best already.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a company called Lark, and to be honest, yeah, I think I'll probably say it on here and everything. So Lark was our number one competition.
Yeah.
And Lark actually specialised in bottles. So I said, okay, we need to go for Lark because they're in Selfridges. So I innovated simply everything that Lark was doing on a whole different scale.
Yeah.
I made my bottles look more sleek. I made it add more features. I done better technology with the sterilizing and the purifying. I done everything that could counter their stuff. And they were actually a company got crowdfunded, I think 40 to 50 million.
Oof.
Yeah, they got crowdfunded pretty big. And we managed to take Lark out of Selfridges and replace it with our one, which is pretty cool.
Fair plays.
And the crazy thing about it is that I actually worked in Selfridges when I was 16. That was my first ever job, and my only, or apart from obviously Solomon Blake, but that was my only ever like job like payroll in Selfridges when I was like 16 through like temping and everything. So it kind of was like a full circle moment, and yeah, launching in there is good because obviously it adds to your credibility. But I feel like the misconception about with Selfridges, and I don't even think it's just like the tech, but I think it's just anywhere. People automatically think when you get your product in a department store, it's automatically blowing up.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole flip side to it, because what you have to do and what people don't actually realize is that you have to give, for example, Selfridges a margin. So I think Selfridges in the beginning wanted like a 30% margin, 30% discount on the margin for the bottle. So now you have to kind of weigh up in your head, okay, your manufacture costs, then your delivery costs, then you have to stock it in there, then you still have to pay a fee annually as well when you're in there.
Yeah.
And then they're taking a margin cut of 30%. So realistically, sometimes it can be the case where it's almost like you're not people feel like, oh yeah, well that's it. Now it's like, your company's going to fly. But majority of the time, department stores is not there to actually make money, because people make more money on their own online stores. I made more money when people were going to my own store and buying it, as opposed to going into Selfridges.
Oh, right.
But what Selfridges actually allows is that it allows the credibility, and you can leverage off the credibility, because now you've got into there and you've tackled probably the hardest stores to get into. When it comes to pitching any of these other stores or anything like that, it's very much easy to kind of, for them to give you a shot.
Oh, so they'll just take you in because you say that one word.
Of course, because at the end, if you've got in one of the best department stores already, anywhere you go, why wouldn't they want to take it?
True.
Because evidently they've seen it work in the best of the best. And that's what I would say, like, you have to go for number one spots in the beginning, no matter how kind of, like, I was doing that all on my own. I've done it all on my own. And even still, it was, in the beginning, it's a little bit of a graft because the way I actually got the contacts, I was buying tech. I was a customer there first. So they knew my name and they knew my face. But I made sure I go in, week out, buying tech, just so they can get to know me. So then when it came to then going in there and saying, okay, do you know what? I need to speak to the tech buyer. Because whenever you're getting your product, whether you're doing fashion, whether you're doing that, people feel like you go to the managers or you go to the head of HR, or I don't even know what, but it's the buyers. So it'd be the fashion buyers, the tech buyers, the whatever industry you're in. The buyers are the ones that buy because they're the ones that are product placing and they feel like it's going to perform well.
Okay.
So at the time, I remember I was just jumping on TikTok and...
TikTok. I'm going to call you the gifter.
TikTok, and there was like 2 or 3 videos that went viral, like 5 million views or something like that. Boosted it, sent it absolutely crazy in terms of sales. But again, there's always a flip side to it, because even like for that, for example, like you could have a product that goes viral on social media. Yeah. One thing that I didn't anticipate was that 90% of the customers were all American.
Oh, okay.
Now, this proved to be, again, another problem. I feel like you're always just problem solving in business. That's it. That's it is problem solving 24/7. It's not a glamorous game. But what happened was, because I'd shipped and I had all my products in the UK, I now had to ship it to the US. Now, the cost for me to ship it to the US per bottle was about £8 to £15. That's cutting into my margin too much.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
And on top of it, I gave everyone a discount on there because I didn't think the video was even going to do well. So I just done discount, first time buyer. It went crazy, and I thought, oh my gosh, now I have to ship all these out. So now I'm actually running in a loss because by the time you ship it out, the cost there is you've had to pay for the tax, manufacturer, and then shipping it all out. You're under break even. Yeah. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. So I feel like you're always kind of readjusting yourself and kind of learning the kind of lessons. But I've had like the craziest experiences already with the tech that I would have only learned through experience in itself. Do you understand? So, that was Selfridges. And so we got that in there. Now, the problem that a lot of people said they had was that, first of all, the bottle was too small. So this bottle is about 450 ml. Each bottle coated silver to insulate heat or obviously cold. So let's say if you're in a hot country, you want to keep your water cold, it's going to stay cold for up to 10 hours. If it's hot water, it's going to stay hot because obviously it's coated with kind of silver on there. So that was a problem. And the second problem was that it was a chug lid. So people that were jogging, they were running. And then they had to open it. And then it would spill. And imagine if you've got hot water in there, or you got tea, or you got something in there. So what started to happen was that I started to kind of, even though it was great and it was like flawless design, it's like one of my favorite designs on this, I thought to myself, okay, I need to kind of switch this whole thing around. I need to switch this whole thing around and bring out a better one. So the new version now, which is this one, which I don't know if you can even see.
They can see it.
Yeah. So the new version now actually has, and I take it off, a chug lid.
Okay.
So not only does it have a chug lid, so you can do it, but you can also unscrew it. Sorry, a sports lid. Sports lid, chug lid. Yeah. Do you understand? Still got the UVC light inside it and everything. This one's 650 ml. And this actually has an app. So when it was coming to kind of innovate the design and everything, I thought to myself, well, do you know what? How can I do it where I make this kind of really interesting or something? I thought, let me try and just produce the best bottle there is out there.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That can cater to people. A lot of people forget to drink water. It's a problem that exists out there.
Yeah, I know. Get dehydrated.
Get dehydrated. Majority of the time, people don't even know that they're not drinking enough water. And our body's made up of 70% water in itself. Do you understand? So when it was kind of this time around, what we've actually done is that we've actually got an app. And the app, it's on iOS and Android. It tells you how much water. Every time you drink water out of the bottle,
it tells you.
Tells you the amount of water you drunk. It reminds you, your water bottle actually starts to vibrate.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Okay.
And on the water bottle, it tells you how much water you've got left in there. It tells you how much plastic bottles you saved for the people who care about, obviously, more the environment and want to be sustainable. So we try to kind of add like sustainability into it as well. And it's got a men's cycle, basically like the Flow app where women have their
yeah.
So you've incorporated on that onto there as well. So it's just kind of made it a one-stop shop with it where people can kind of take accountability of like the water they're drinking and just see how much water they're actually having an intake on. And most people feel better when they drink water anyway. Do you understand? So, you know, whether you use this for tea, whether you use it for water, whether it's that, I feel like it's kind of solving a problem to a degree. Yeah. And that's what I truly want the concept of Grey Art Tech to be. I want it to be a smart tech hub where whether people are going on for men, women, children, home, when they're finding not just gimmicky technology, but they're finding technology that's actually innovating and it adds a convenience to their life.
Yeah, because, you know, tech these days, do you know what's big?
AI is big. And do you know the problem with AI? People these days, right? And I feel like it's just, maybe again, this is just my opinion, but I think it's kind of propaganda because people say like AI is taking over our jobs. AI is doing this. AI is going to destroy. It's getting out of hand. It's all this stuff. But if you actually take a second to think about it, AI has always been taken over slowly. It's like, for example, when you used to go to something like the train station, you used to have to wait in a line to buy a ticket.
True.
Now you can do it by a machine. And now we've got these little machines called Oyster cards.
Yeah.
Before Oyster card machines, you had to go and show someone, or there was someone to check it, or there was all this stuff.
Oh, yeah, true.
Do you understand?
True.
Now, did the Oyster card machines take over people's job, or did it provide more job? Because now someone has to control all those machines.
I think it done more jobs.
More jobs?
Yeah.
So did it add a convenience to people's life, or did it send everyone into a frenzy? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. So when people talk about AI or, you know, they talk about tech, I feel like it all comes down to perspective in a way, because AI has been helping to improve people's life. It's like, for example, like even the new phase of ChatGPT. People don't realize how much of a hidden gem that is, because at the end of the day,
it is.
You can use it as a mentor. You can use it as a 24-hour mentor. Any question you don't know, you can prompt it. You can teach it so much stuff about yourself.
Even translate.
Where it's like, it's to translate everything. And it can give you such flawless plans and everything, and just such like a perspective on business or stuff like that. And even, do you know what it is? A lot of people are introverts when it comes to even to business or anything like that. So they're scared to reach out to people for advice. And you've got something there in front of you. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like what it's coming down to with AI, I think from a business scale, is that you needed 2,000 people to create £1 billion company. And what they're saying is that with the AI, they're probably estimating that it's going to cut down to about 5 people. You only need like 5 people.
Crazy.
To create £1 billion company. And it's like, well, if you have the components of the AI and you have the right infrastructure and the engine, of course, like you're just kind of flying it from there. So when it comes to AI, I feel like it's kind of mixed reviews, but I feel like you need to look at it as like, well, where would society be at the moment if there was no AI or the tech era wasn't thriving where it is right now? Do you know what I mean? Because all it's doing is just creating more of a convenient world. And this is why I'm so not so reluctant. This is why I'm so on tapping in the tech and being the market leaders when it comes to smart tech, because smart tech is forever developing, and I'm forever fascinated about kind of new tech and just stuff in general. You know, so much different tech that we want to kind of do, but tech, beautiful game to be in, and I feel like it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. Everything around us is tech based. It's already developing, whether people like it or not. Do you understand? Literally,
day by day.
100%.
I love my tech as well. Like literally, even if it comes down like to the childish things like building Legos and with the little mechanical motors and stuff like that. Remember Connects?
I remember you used to have to buy the pieces every week in the magazine.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
So tech is fun. Tech is fun. It's like, why not? And it's like, for me, I feel like I can be so free when it comes to this business because there's no rules written to it. Do you understand? So I'm trying to do everything on such a different sort of scale, but a new style of entrepreneurship and a new style and a new flavor into tech. Like, not just making it gimmicky, but making it stylish, making it like premium, making it, you know, like I said, a convenience to people's life. And man, seeing where it goes from there. See where it goes from there, you know.
And one more thing, if what would you tell someone who's following in your footsteps, and give us a quote of the day as well? What advice would you give? Like powerful advice.
Someone that's following my footsteps.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't really. I mean, okay, if we're talking about advice, I know advice that I'll give to young people who are starting their journey.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just, don't get. Fortune favors those who dare to win. Right. That's one of the quotes that I've always.
That does make sense as well.
Fortune favors those who dare to win, and you gotta remember, in life, right? Like whether you're starting off, you're gonna make mistakes. It's a painful, but it's an inevitable process into success. You have to go through hardship. You have to go through making mistakes because life only conditions you. Do you understand? And I remember I had a talk with a friend the other day, and the way his kind of stress tolerance is and his kind of tolerance in general is so high. But this guy's a multimillionaire. And it's true what they say. It's like, are you really ready for the problems that come with the blessings you've been praying for so bad? And what I mean by that is that a lot of people crave, oh, I want to make £1 million. I want a Fortune 500 company. I want a big company. I want staff. I want this. But are you conditioned and mentally ready for the problems that come with it? Because you don't make £1 million without having £1 million worth of problems. And you can ask anyone who's remotely successful and they'll tell you, like, everything out there on social, forget what is shown out there on social media. Let's talk about when, like, the real nitty gritty of it. Business, entrepreneurship, it's not a pretty game. It's an ugly game. Do you understand? And I feel like you mentally have to condition yourself. And you can't, I try to move in a neutral state at all times. So I'm never too excited, but I'm never too disappointed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of helped me balance my thoughts and just anything. And anything in business, you're going to go through a painful process, but you have to, because it's the only way to get you better. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. It's like when you first started this podcast, you may have started making like silly mistakes, and when it's your first ever time in the studio, do you understand?
Like I was saying from the podcast before, your one, boy, I was telling him that I was making so much mistakes. Even my first Wave TV intro video, it was shit.
But that's fine. This is the crazy thing about it. It's like, that's absolutely fine. And I feel like the thing about society, everyone looks at the final image without realizing, no, it's actually all the experiences what shape you to be that person who you need to be to achieve your goals. And I feel like that only comes with experience and everything. So I feel like understanding that and understanding that life is one big game of snakes and ladders. If that's the best way I can do it, it's like
it makes sense.
Certain people, you roll the dice and they just get a lucky run in the beginning. And that's absolutely fine. Sometimes you land on the ladder on the first roll of the dice. Like when I was 20 years old and all of a sudden you're straight going up. Do you understand? Sometimes you keep rolling the dice and you just haven't got your ladder yet. Do you understand? And you might land on a snake. And a snake could be an experience, it could be a person, it could be anything, do you understand? But you've landed on that and sometimes it takes you to the beginning. But regardless of anything, whether you landed on a snake or a ladder, the same principle remains of snakes and ladders. And it's like, if you keep rolling the dice, you eventually finish the game. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Facts.
So I feel like when it comes to a lot of people in general, they need to understand that concept. Do you understand that life is not just, you're going to thing and you're not going to expect, you're going to have times and you're going to have, but that doesn't define you as a person. Mm-hmm. And as long as you keep rolling the dice and as long as you kind of are persistent, then you're going to get there. And that's the difference between me and everyone else. And
patience as well.
Exactly. Loads of people are smarter than me. Loads of people are probably way more intelligent than I am. I'm just more persistent.
Yeah.
And even if the worst thing happens, ask anyone, I'm back to it. I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going.
That's it.
So,
that's it.
Yeah, that's...
That was a lot to take in. That was a lot to take in.
Well, we need to do a part 2.
Yeah. Listen.
I know. We've been trying to arrange
Yeah. But it was lucky to actually see you today because we've been planning this for God knows how long.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And as I said, I'm sorry that I'm not like my 100% today because I feel like I'm proper trying to like even stretch to speak because it's like, but honestly speaking, thank you very much for having me on.
No problems, bro. I appreciate your time and your effort. You get what I'm saying? So that's it. People, this is Wtp podcast. We are out and over. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Wtp. I hope you lot have really enjoyed this podcast. Thanks for all the love and support on all the platforms. I really do appreciate it. And I'm just going to keep on working, show you lot all the fiery content that I've got, all the guests. Like, I am trying my best.
You're onto something. Can I just say, before we think, like, and I said this outside, I feel like you're only going to realise in time because I feel like you're onto something good. I think you're onto something great. And I feel like in the near future on it, you're probably even going to start, like, I don't know what sort of guests or what level
it's just going to be crazy, man.
You're going to enjoy the journey of it, man. You only get the feeling of the come up journey once.
That's what I'm saying.
But when you crossed over, it's like the thrill factor goes. So shit, if I can even say, but yeah.
People, we're out. Get ready for the next episode, and don't forget to keep it wavy, baby.